Hi everyone, it's Gaban here again. Now it's time for another one of my game collection videos. This time I'm going to look at the Super Nintendo. This is my original PAL Super Nintendo, which I got when it first came out, which I got with Super Mario World and one controller. I'm now going to show you the accessories I've got for the Super Nintendo, and this is a case that I was buying these for holding my games when they were available. We used to pick them up from Future Zone, which was later became Electronics Boutique in the UK, and then is now finding game. I used to make my own covers for these, print them out on my HP printer that had a single cartridge, so I would have to print it out once to do the black ink and then print it out again to put the colour on there. These were actually designed to hold both SNES, Mega Drive and Master System games, and they were really cheap. You used to buy them in stacks. They were quite good for keeping the games nice and safe with the manuals and that. Now, this is the original Super Nintendo controller. As you can see, style the same, with the 4 colour buttons identical to the Super Famicom in Japan, and everything like that. Now I actually got one with the system when I first bought it, but I actually have 2 of them because I bought a second one later on, so I could have 2 proper Super Nintendo controllers at the point that I just wanted to have 2 available so that I had them fresh. But when I first got my Super Nintendo, to get a second controller, I went out and brought this. It was the SM Pro Pad. It's a transparent body with showing you the boards with a slow switch, auto and semi-auto switches as well. It's a good pad. Used to use it a lot until it started, the buttons started to fail, and so I went back to using the original Super Nintendo pad, and that's why then when I brought a second one of those. However, I still had quite a few friends who'd come around to play with SNES, and a lot of them used to smoke, and I'm one of these people, I don't like people messing my stuff, especially the first party stuff, stuff like controllers that came with the console, things like that. So I brought this, and this was called the Championship Pro controller. It's actually just an extended version of the extended version of the normal Super Nintendo body, controller body, with modifications on there. It's third party controller, it's not the original Nintendo one. To be honest, I've hardly ever used it. I let it to all the friends to use it. And they seem to think it was okay. Tend to always cheat and put auto fire on when playing, or semi-auto on when playing Street Fighter, so they could perform the moves easier. But that's down to them. The next accessory I've got is this. It's the Super Scope. It's Nintendo's light gun for the Super Nintendo. Massive thing. 6 AA batteries to use it, and obviously nowadays it won't work with HD TV due to the refresh rate. A lot of people have said that it actually works the same way as the Wii does, where it uses the sensor here to locate the position of the screen. It doesn't. It works just the same way as the Zapper, or similar ways as the Zapper, where the lens there picks up the flash of flash when you fire the button. All that does is transmit the information back to the TV to prove that you pressed the button and things like that. And it does that by using this, which is the receiver block, which is meant to place above your TV when you're using the scope. Well, you had to have it above your TV to use the scope. You could also have it below, but it didn't play too well with that. It just seemed a little bit off at the time. Those of you who've seen the previous videos know that I'm a big fan of beat-em-ups. So with the Super Nintendo having games like Street Fighter and that, one of the things I brought was this. This is the Score Master. It's Nintendo's arcade stick for the Super Nintendo. You see in this version they've styled, it's different to the American version, and they've actually styled this main piece like the Super Nintendo controller, and then obviously your buttons there. It's a really nice arcade stick, still plays great even today. It's got the auto buttons like most of them do. Nice big flat base with rubber pads on the bottom to keep it sturdy. Still enjoy using this for things like Street Fighter and Killer Instinct and Mortal Kombat. Move that. Now, no SNES can be complete without owning this. It's the Nintendo mouse. It came out originally just for Mario Paint, and there was only a few games that used it. Really enjoyed it. Many great hours using this as a controller, playing things like Yoshi's Safari and that. I've even still got the little red cap that goes in there to keep the ball clean, and I've also still got the cleaning pick that Nintendo gave with it, and also the mouse mat. Now the mouse mat is great because it's a nice big flat plastic mouse mat, solid unit. It's great if I still use it even when I'm using the mouse on, say, a laptop or something, and I haven't got a hard surface to use it on. I'll still use that. Now the next thing I've got is this. It's the Game Genie. And the Game Genie, obviously, game manipulation device for the Super Nintendo, has this flap on here now to hold the games in when the system's actually in the Super Nintendo. Now, the Game Genie didn't work with later SNES games that required the expanded boards, mainly because of the fact, so that's things like Star Fox, mainly because of the fact that they never actually made it to do that. As you can see, the board there, it's no pins in the heads there, and the board itself is a short board, standard length board. As you can see, I'll show you that and that. You can see there's a difference in that. Now that's the other accessory. This is the Super Game Boy. Loved it when this came out. Got it as soon as it came out. Being able to play my Game Boy games on the Super Nintendo in full screen on my TV. Also being able to use other features, things like Space Invaders that had Super Game Boy compatibility to let you play games, two-player capability game on it. Really enjoyed it. It was great fun to do. I still actually use this from time to time, even though it's been replaced by things like the Game Boy Advance player on the GameCube. But I do still use it if I'm ever going to play any of my Super Game Boy enhanced games on the SNES. Right, now we're going to move on to the games. Now, what I will say, these games, all the games I've got, I really enjoy. Don't really consider any of them to be turkeys, and to be honest, most of them you can just, if you can get them on Virtual Console or things like that, I recommend you pick them up and play them. First one, so you can see there, is Super Metroid. Everyone knows about this game, everyone's played it, so I'm going to say on that one. Next is Super Pro Protector Alien Rebels, or as most people know it in American, that is Super Contra or Contra 3. Again, brilliant game. Konami does the best on that. Now we have F1 Exhaust Heat, a nice F1 racing game where you get to actually modify your cars. It's one of the first racing games where you've got to make all the changes to like tyre use, things like that, and so you can then take that car out on the track and it actually did make a difference based on what tyres you had, what engine capacities and things you had like that. Next, Mario Paint. I know most of you people have seen this. Obviously it's not going to be available on Virtual Console, so if you've got a SNES, pick one up. If you're interested, check out other YouTube videos. There's tons of people who've done some amazing stuff with this, like music wise and things like that. Well worth checking out, look up and see what they've done. Now we've got the first game to start the Super FX chip off, Starwing, or Star Fox if you're in America, and this was the first Super FX game that uses the original chip, so obviously it has the extended board on there. Next we've got one of the launch games for the Super Nintendo, F-Zero, racing game. It's amazing. It's like Wipeout without weapons. There's a lot of people now played the later versions, but yeah, again this is on Virtual Console. Next we've got Mortal Kombat 3. Being a big beat 'em up fan, obviously I was going to have the Mortal Kombat series, especially before it started going downhill. Now I feel this is the one. The graphics on this weren't as good as they were on Mortal Kombat 2, but obviously that's mainly because they had a lot more game to fit in, a lot more characters to fit into the game. Still a great game, still worth playing. Next is Super Mario World. I don't need to say anything else about this game, but on a side note, I found a video today on YouTube called Automatic Mario, which is where someone's made music using the Super Mario World. Well, I'm guessing it's the ROM they've adjusted to make the levels, so the noises that get made during the level correspond with certain music. So I'll put a link up on the show notes, so you should be able to see that. But that's well worth watching. Right, next we've got a game that's just had a re-release on PSN and Xbox Live Arcade, Earthworm Jim. Well worth picking up. And then we have another Konami excellent game, Super Castlevania 4. I'm sure everyone has played a Castlevania game, and this is considered to be the best of the bunch. Now we've got the original Mortal Kombat, game that I picked up quite soon after it came, as soon as it came out. First time I actually played Mortal Kombat was in an arcade when I was on a school trip. We found an arcade at a bus stop, a service station, and had to go on Mortal Kombat there. Obviously we enjoyed it. The only downside of Mortal Kombat is that the SNES version didn't have any blood and fatalities, so people who had Mega Drives did try to rule over you, saying that they had the best version of the game. Well, I still think this actually played smoother and looked crisper.